First of all, thanks a lot for every single one of you guys who came here today. It means a lot for us and also for our partners as well, and everyone who actually had a direct flight to Kosovo just because of this conference. I'm so grateful for having Rachel here and Drila as well. I'm calling you Drila. We are used to call him on short name. And
there are people who call me even shorter, DJ.
DJ, yeah.
DJ Jaha?
Yeah, just DJ. Jaha, okay. Thanks for
That's a good one.
pronouncing it the right way. I have an orange one, I'm sorry.
So thanks a lot for coming, and thanks a lot for being on this panel. And I'm super excited for this topic. It's one of the topics that I believe is on the weight of its importance is kind of a heavy, like on order of how the industry is moving and also how the world is moving in order to change and shift to different type of industries. And I'm so glad that you guys both are well known, like on the community side, on building communities and global adoption as well, and also on the technical side, which is something that is going to make this discussion as good as it can be. So just to start with, how early we are with AI, first of all, before we go with everything else. Rachel?
Look, I think we are living in one of the most transformative times that we as a society have ever seen. We talk about it a lot internally at Binance as the acceleration era.
Yeah.
I don't think we've seen anything as big as this since the internet, but I don't think that is new to anyone in this room. Like, actually, just out of interest, how many people in this room have interacted or are using LLMs and AI in some way?
I did the opposite. I went to a student congregation. I said, "Who doesn't?" and no one raised their hand. So that's the KPI.
So it's touching everyone.
Yeah.
But to answer your question about whether we're, what stage we're out of it, similar to what I said earlier when we think about crypto, where we're still only at 700 million people globally, we are only at the early advent of what is the potential impact that AI is going to have on our professional, on our educational, on our personal ecosystems. And I know there's lots of naysayers and there's lots of big myths and scams around AI, but with any new emerging technology that happens.
Always.
And it's for us, from the context of financial innovation, it's for us, us at Binance, we're embracing it in every way we can. And I think while we're seeing a lot of disruption happen on the consumer-facing side, where the real disruption is happening is really behind the scenes.
Exactly, 100%.
Just want to connect to the last point. I remember seeing some posters in Paris when the electricity was invented, and people were protesting against it. So, and now imagine what electricity has done to the world up until today. And then you have a newspaper where it's saying the professors are against students using the calculator.
Exactly.
Then it was the era when they said the computer is a stupid idea. We don't need computers. Then we don't need the internet. Then we don't need AI. Then we don't need blockchain. So the human evolution against technology, or human evolution with technologies like this, you're going to have the naysayers always present, and you're going to have the futurists, as I call them. So AI has impacted our lives, and I don't think anyone in this room doesn't understand its importance.
Exactly.
What we should be positioning ourselves in these types of conferences where Binance is motivating people to understand and, creating an infrastructure to understand how important it is and how we can, implement it to the B2C more than it is for the business and big corporations. So if the end user, as I call them, as the civilians, understand to use AI on daily basis, it becomes way more important than what we're seeing in news and how this data center and that data center is being, managed or manipulated. So it's very important that all types of people understand and use AI on daily basis, and it becomes something natural to them, because the naysayers are trying to impact it, but it's only doing the opposite. People are just consuming more and using more of the AI.
Well, it goes back to its utility.
Exactly.
It provides such utility to us, no matter what, whether you're a stay-at-home mom, whether you're a crypto trader, whether you're a marketeer, whether you're a conference organizer.
Exactly,
Like, it provides utility, and ultimately that's going to mean its use cases explode.
People two years ago would call me to fix their computer. Now they're like, can you install cloud? Can you help me install cloud? Because we need a VPN here in Kosovo. So like it's the same person. So this is the adoption rate, which it's amazing.
I just did a content video recently about the adoption of AI on the world, and how much of them are paying for AI actually, and how much of them are used AI for the first time, and like at least once, which is a huge gap into it. And what I explained there is that there's a big propaganda, or if I can call it like that, or a campaign around that AI is going to take all the jobs, right? And I was assuming that this whole campaign is happening because of onboarding and also sustaining the revenue of those companies into paid subscription to the bill, so people don't get left behind. So what do you think about this? Is actually something that is going to happen, or looking to happen, or is just a push of narrative?
Look, I think, just to use your analogy of electricity, I'm sure candle makers weren't very happy back at the beginning of the century when suddenly they weren't able to produce as many candles or didn't have the demand. But look, we live in a society where we see roles being disrupted every day, every month, every year by other technologies and other geopolitical changes and other business changes. So what I imagine will need to happen is that there is going to be a retooling and a reskilling of how we go about many professional roles. And I think as part of that, some roles will become obsolete. I think that's an economic reality that governments, that both public and private sector, need to be working together to understand, and working with the education authorities and the institutions to help them understand, well, what are the needs? Like, I learned a new term earlier on today with Darcy, who was on a panel earlier on, who was explaining to me about the concept of forward engineer architects. And the Hive teams he's building now for companies. And that's a term I hadn't heard before, and I would say I'm someone that's deeply immersed in AI and is educating myself. But that's a term, excuse me, those are the type of roles that we're going to see more of. And I do think that, like, AI is a co-pilot now.
Exactly.
It's your companion.
Exactly.
Like, for me as a marketeer, it makes me better at what I'm doing. It enhances my work output because it reduces the time I spent on menial and sometimes bureaucratic tasks that I hate doing, let's be honest. And it also becomes a sparring partner for me. Like, I keep odd hours. I work long days, and sometimes my creative time is at midnight when I can't really call Sandra or Alexi on my team to jump on a brainstorm with me. So I use that to spar with AI, and whether it be Claude, whether it be ChatGPT, and I think that's where we have an opportunity. We haven't even scratched the surface of how this is going to evolve, how we work.
Exactly. That's also Drilon is enthusiastic on spreading the word that we haven't even started. What's your take on this whole thing?
It's very hard to speak after Rachel because she encompasses everything, and I only need to use a tangent. So my take on it is that the human value is going to increase exponentially. Like, the human itself, without, even the people that we used to underestimate and bully all the time, they're going to be more valuable because they have the emotional and the attachment to things that it's going to perform like it. The great people that have joined this conference, I was having discussions about are robots when they're coming, like, are they going to be our next consumer, or is it only the human who's going to be buying stuff and this and that? So the world is becoming way more interesting, and the big people of this industry have predicted stuff, and they have, they've been wrong. So, like, for example, when ChatGPT came the first time, everyone was like, oh my God, this profession, like radiologists, they're out of the game. 3 years forward, now in 2026, radiologists, there is a lack of this profession because the need has increased, and there are not enough radiologists, and AI, it didn't substitute them. 100%. So it's not how we're trying to predict it. Yes, is it going to impact jobs? It already is impacting jobs. Is it always going to be negative? I don't believe so. It's going to be expanding our possibility to do stuff, as Rachel mentioned, like some boring stuff. I really want to let AI do it because they even do it better than us. And then we handle the creatives, we handle the partnership, we handle the new opportunities where AI is not yet there. But when it reaches there, we are the creative species that we're just going to find a new endeavor for us, and I never worry about that. Maybe I'm the optimist. Maybe I'm the one who, when I look at what happened to Titanic, I'm also optimist because I said the crabs, the crabs and the fish that they caught, they went back to the sea.
Yeah.
I'm the optimist on everything, but for this, I am a pragmatic optimist, I believe, because it's giving people opportunities to explore things that they were not possible before.
It's also to what is a big theme of this conference around kind of the opportunities we've discussed in the opening around the opportunity. It democratizes access to markets.
Exactly.
It democratizes access to resources that entrepreneurs may not have had
100%.
historically. It reduces the need, for big outlays of capital early, And I think that, to your point about unlocking human potential,
Absolutely.
I think it's somewhere I read, and I may get this stat wrong, so don't quote me, it's like we only are using like 3.5% of our brain capacity at the moment.
Yeah.
Imagine if you omit those everyday tasks that fill our brains
Exactly.
and allow us the opportunity to really think profoundly about what are new opportunities and reimagine different industries, whether it be finance or healthcare or beyond. It is, so there's so much potential. I think probably we're going to be a very boring panel because we're both bullish on this. So we need some naysayers.
You can play the negatives. Negative role.
Let me do it.
Bring us more questions.
So one side, do you guys think that is actually making people more lazy on critical thinking? And also on the creative way of thinking and approaching a problem. When, for example, when you have a fast solution, it's not that you're going to have that much of the activation of your brain. So what do you think about this? Is something
I knew
that
it.
is
You're
affecting
just going to
it?
give me the chance to talk first. So I think it is making us lazy, and I don't care. Why? Because my laziness is way more connected towards things that I think they are boring and can be automated.
Love it.
And I never am lazy. I have never in my life worked more.
Love it.
Everyone knows me and knew the DJ before 3 years.
Yeah.
Now I have at least 4 consoles working. I was in the bricks of having another cloud account because I needed, when the limit hits the first max, I was going to use the second one, but they did something and I have more time now. So I am being provoked to produce a lot of stuff which I was not capable of doing before, and it's not stopping. People were like, yeah, you're going to be like 2 months like this. No, it's not. I started this journey in, I think it was December last year. Up until now, I'm still building stuff. I'm just, just for the pleasure of it, because I love building.
Yes.
So the entrepreneurs, people who are creative, yes, am I lazy to, what? You should see how lazy I am, how I use the console, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask it, I know how to press the button, but I tell it in the console, go, you press the button, then you do B, then you do C, then you do A. And now the lazy level, the new lazy level for me is that I don't type anymore.
Yeah.
I have the mic, I just press it and I talk to it. This is the new lazy level.
Is it Whisper Note? I'm obsessed.
So yes, I'm becoming lazy, but is it something I'm worried about? No, I'm not.
Okay. No.
I'm going to be a little controversial here, a little bit different. I do think it is highlighting and spotlighting the good employees from the bad.
Yeah.
And let me give an example here. Because AI is accessible by all, but let's be clear, the output of it is informed by the smartness of the thinking that's put in. Yeah. Like your inputs are only as good as your outputs. I've got a very large team, 300 people that report into me, and I'm not going to say names, but there's certain individuals who send me documents that immediately I can see, I'll have asked for it, a couple of weeks before. We're a very fast-paced business, so that's long. And I'll get a document, I'll see it's been done in, I can check now where I can see it's been done in 30 minutes, and it's been done with AI with no original thinking. So that's where I think it's actually going to make the strongest go to the top and the weakest fall off. And I think that's something that we really need to ensure we're educating around. Because there's no way of you giving 50% in this current environment. You have to give 100% plus.
Yes.
So.
I mean, it's the natural selection, but for,
I want to use that term.
I know. I'm the clown. You can use it.
So yeah, exactly that was the thing that it's not that it's going to replace if you weren't actually good for that job. You don't deserve that job, so it's just get rid of.
It's going to eliminate mediocrity.
Exactly, 100%. Yeah, so is that type of, what do you guys think? Right now we are seeing it. AI, it evolved a lot. I was among the first subscribers, like on ChatGPT and Midjourney and all of those. We were testing a lot and stuff. It evolved like crazy, like since then in 2022, like and so on. But especially in the last year, what is the industries that are being touched the most, like from AI right now, that is actually seeing the effects even now? We know that on a near future we're gonna see the effect of it, like on different industries, but on this situation right now that we are in.
Look, I actually been working with AI for 12 years. I was involved in the IBM Watson launch when I was in advertising. And the biggest challenge at that time is IBM, many of these big institutions were incorporating AI since, for 12,
Ages,
13 years. But they knew that in order for it to become relatable globally, they had to have consumer-facing products that called it out. Exactly. And what was really interesting at that time, our biggest challenge is, like, how do we really showcase the impact this is going to be? And that was obviously the famous match that we did with the chess player and IBM Watson. Yeah. And that's become down in folklore as, like, showing, the power. Yeah. I think that, I think for me, there is no industry that is going to be untouched by this. I think behind the scenes, like finance has been incorporating this finance has been working with AI for the last 6 years. Yeah. So for us behind the scenes, all of the security protocols, the risk mitigation, KYC, every point of your user experience on the Binance platform has been layered with AI in some capacity, but it should be invisible. 100%. It's about making us faster, more transparent. It's about enabling us as Binance to help detect when there's unusual behavior going on.
100%. We just saw recently a fraudster behavior that got touched.
Exactly. Yeah, so you combine blockchain analytics with AI. It's super powerful to mitigate against what we know is traditional finance scams are still the biggest in the world. Yes, 100%. Still 30x that of what happens in the crypto space. So I think it's being used across CS, customer service, across compliance, across risk, across product development to help us push things out faster and garner insights and glean what we should be doing with those insights. From a marketing perspective, it's allowing what is a relatively small global and local marketing team scale more content. I know that it wasn't fully done by AI, but look at the content here today. Yeah, it's been enabled, and 100%. I'm sure the pain that's reduced and allowed you produce better quality output, is enormous. So I think that there's no industry that's going to be untouched by this, but it is very important. And look, I do think we need to have a discussion around the ethical and the regulatory side of this. Absolutely. Because there are a lot of, with any emerging technology, there's always big brains that will use it for bad. Yeah. So it's about ensuring that we've got the right protection measures in place for Gen Pop and for businesses 100%. To help mitigate against that.
Exactly. I'm really going to dilute the topic if I speak at the same panel with someone who was working with AI from IBM Watson, so just skip me. Go to the next question. I'm just going to dilute it. What am I going to say?
What am I going to say?
No, but what's actually cool that Drilon is it builds communities, around those new industries that are reshaping stuff. So that's why it's up to date on everything. So,
but I'm going to talk about one case which was really scary. So I have a lot of friends that work in traditional finance. I have a degree in economics, so 80% of my college crew went into finance, and I chose marketing. I wanted to be poor. So,
intentionally.
Exactly. But no, I wanted an interesting life. But what was really interesting, recently I was sitting with some friends who work at a major top 3 investment bank globally. They were sharing a story with me around in investment banks where you're making large transfers over 50 million, they have to do essentially what is physical through computers, what is like physical checks. Yeah. So the goal is that you, for every level of transfer that you're scaling up, there's it goes from 3 to maybe 10 people that need to sign off that transfer being made. In one of the major banks in Wall Street in New York, they were going through the motions on a 50 million transfer, which is standard at that level in corporate banking. They went through the 3 verbal and physical facial recognition checks. Everyone passed, the transfer was made. What they realized within an hour was that an AI agent had taken over their computer, and they were dealing with avatars. And that story is not public because in traditional finance, it's only in crypto we get talked about publicly. But it's what's really interesting is that's what you need to counter. That's what we're dealing with. So for all of the positive use cases, and we should all be bullish, we just need to be considerate and aware. 100%. And it also goes back to us as individuals being much more aware of our information, access of our identity, information sharing, of everything related to ourselves. Because while this can empower you, it can also create issues for you.
100%. Absolutely. It's just so individuals in all types of organizations are already using AI. We're not talking about this. This level has already reached. I don't know if people who are in submarines use it because maybe they haven't come out of side of the submarine yet. They haven't heard about AI. Those people might be excluded, but anyone else who is in the IT, information technology, is using AI. Now, industries and like corporations and stuff, I've been part of a 6 months part of a corporation, which is very hard to adapt it because there is a lot of bureaucracy and a lot 100%. Of things that you have to pass and so it's the adapting rate is not going to be same for a startup of 5 kids that have just seen one another in the block. You look like I like your eyes. Let's start a startup. These types of people, it's going to be way easier for them to adapt it and pretend that they're revolutionizing the industry. But huge corporations now. Yesterday I read an article that Microsoft is, I think, cutting ties with cloud because the usage is is becoming more costly than the employees that they used to have. So there is going to be the economy of scale and all of this. So it is impacting all industries, but it depends. Some of them are going to just push the gas to max and then just go back and forth. But what I want to encourage everyone is to be aware of what is happening. Just don't live in your bubble and don't live in your cave because that's dangerous.
Love it.
And then just one other thing to think about. I met with this amazing early stage fintech startup. It's a group of Irish Eastern Europeans based in Dubai that are building this. Really, really impressive. Nice. Met with them, in 2 months ago now. 6 weeks in, they've had to pivot because someone has already launched using AI. What was the product? Wow. So that is something, and I know there's lots of builders in this room. Yes, exactly. Speed to market really matters.
100%.
And that's something, we don't have the luxury anymore of spending 2 to 3 years building out a value proposition, doing it if you have a good idea, you feel confident that's a good idea, you've got good allies and advisors, go for it, because you have to. And it may not be perfect, but that's the way. This will be the early bird wins the race. So
exactly,
absolutely,
100%.
You Rachel, remember the what was it? The web era or the first. So if you were fast then, it's the same chance now, but I think it's accelerating way faster than that back then. So it's a great chance. We're still there. I think with smart people that I was talking today, it was 2-3 years. That's the chance to, to leverage it the most for this time. Then obviously it becomes very, common sense. Yeah, everyone is using AI.
Love it. So to wrap this panel up, I would, one question, because we have a lot of youth here who are actually having their, now even they had the prom nights and stuff, they just finished high school and stuff. Is that type of confusion that, what should I study? What should I go for? And what type of, for example, where can AI be a tool and not a replacement? And how this can shape the whole future, for those youth.
Rachel.
This is a tough one because I wish I could be really laser focused and do these 3 steps and you're going to succeed. But honestly, I took a week off work last year, as my team knows, to go and immerse myself in a 7-day AI course. Because I did not feel fully fluent in what I needed to do to support and drive the marketing work at Binance. And I would say I'm ahead of most. We're building agents as a management team. But what I would suggest here to the youth in the room is just constantly education and reading and really understanding. I've done all the Claude and ChatGPT courses in the universities. Well, I've done most of them, not all of them. I haven't done the hyper-technical ones. But I think first of all, maybe just being a little more focused is looking at the areas that you want to be in.
Yes.
Whether it's singing, like our beautiful, the next generation Dua Lipa here, or whether it's finance, or whether it's healthcare, thinking through your education and the lens of the sector you're interested in. If you decide to pivot, that's okay. I think we're all going to end up with 5 or 6 careers in this next world. But I do think just looking at all of the tools that are available out there, but most importantly, having a point of view on them yourself, not just taking all the education in.
Absolutely. So I'm scared how much we're aligned, even though we have never met. So like the scariest question I got this in the national TV, Kosovo national TV, and I was like, I'm sorry, but I don't have an answer. I will try to pretend and improvise, but the best answer I have is there is you can become an architect of Anthropic. I know it's hard, but that is going to give you this opportunity. Anyone who is in, a lot of people are in CS here, and computer science, so computer science students, to all of you, I know that only 2 of you are going to listen to this advice, meaning you're going to practice it, because I know you shouldn't trust me, like, go experiment yourself, but you should be an architect. They have I think it's a free course. You take the course, and then you get certified, and I don't really much appreciate certifications, but this one is important in the time and age we're talking about, because everyone now pretends that they can build the agents, but if you're certified from Claude, me and you, same boat, but you can become certified in it. So I think this certification can give you an opportunity and just differentiate you from others. Otherwise, if you don't want this, just freaking test stuff, like, just go test thing. A/B test, like A/B testing was, marketers worship A/B testing, and this is the era of A/B testing.
Well, I'm going to say, like, most people here probably have a partner or a significant other. I have a friend who's been deep in the space for 6 years, kind of serial entrepreneur in the space. I said to him, what's the most valuable use case you've seen of AI? And this is more anecdotal, but he shared with me, this is such a great story. He was like, I'm very good at work. I'm very bad husband. I never remember anything. I never remember birthdays. I never remember anniversaries. I never remember what my wife has told me to do that day with the kids. So he built an AI agent for their home that essentially is his wife, so that he's not irritating her and asking her all the questions.
Smart guy.
That he's using it. And he's like, exponentially, our relationship is 100 times better. And I was like, that is so easy. And I think many people I identify with in my house, but I mean, it's just such an easy, low-hanging fruit. So I do think, like, professional industry aside, how this can improve us as individuals, in our own homes as part of our everyday fabric of life is unbelievable.
100%. Thanks a lot, guys, for being on this panel. I really appreciate you guys, and I believe it was a good discussion. Last question, I don't know if it was a tough question or a wrong question, but I think we had a good message to the youth who are actually seeking for their life profession, or how their life gonna go. So on. Thanks a lot, Rachel. Thanks a lot, Drilon.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.